All right, well, welcome future Spanish immersion parents. Wilbur Elementary welcomes you. We are excited to have you here tonight. And we do have our two Spanish immersion teachers who will be doing most of the speaking tonight. But I do want to introduce, to start off, myself. I'm Beth Howe. I'm the principal at Wilbur Elementary. I've been lucky enough to be the principal at Wilbur Elementary and since the day it opened. And so it's my baby. It's our second home. And so we hope and count on the fact that you will find Wilbur and the Spanish Immersion Program to be the best experience that your child has. We do think of ourselves, and it's true, we are the best school in the universe. So we hope that in every interaction that you have, you find that that is the case. We want you to be excited about starting a new venture in the Spanish Immersion Program, but we also want to be really realistic with you about some of the expectations and some of the things that your student needs to know before coming in so that they can hit the ground running, as they are going to be learning a whole new language, in addition to continuing to learn how to read and write and do math and everything in English. They're going to have the second side of the day where they are going to be learning everything in Spanish. And so we're going to be talking a lot about that tonight, so you have a visual or a picture in your mind of what that looks like. But we are going to go ahead. Ms. Chomp, can you go ahead and go to the next slide?
Oh, good. All right. Can you believe it? We're welcoming you to kindergarten, the class of 2022-23 already. My name is Erin Chomp. I am the English side of things. I know we've met most of you, one or both of us have met most of you by now. This is my 17th year teaching. So I know, Senora.
Crazy. Money. And I am Miss Chomp's better half during the day.
She is my better half.
We better be better halves. We spend a lot of time together. I enjoy every second, Miss Chomp. But anyway, I am the Spanish teacher, and my name is Caridad Alonso. And wow, I'm like 28 years in May. Crazy, but I've enjoyed each single year. Gets better and better. So and we're excited to be here with you.
I did Miss Alonso from another school, and I have to say, I'm sure she would agree. It was a great decision.
It was. Well, I haven't left, so here I am now. Must be a good decision.
So I'd like to take some part in that. So
yes, I better have a lot to do with that.
There's a little piece of that. Oh my goodness! As you can see, we work very closely together. We love what we do, and we just love being with the children all day long. The Immersion Program is a form.
Before we go on to that, sorry, Ms. Chomp.
Okay.
We have two other people in the room that I want to be able to introduce real quick. I want to start with my assistant principals. I want to introduce them. And so first, Miss Shay Payne Miller.
And my name is Shay Payne Miller. I am the assistant principal on the yellow-green side of the building. I cannot wait to meet all of the families and all of the children, and welcome to Wilbur. You're going to have a fantastic time. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Ms. Miller and Mr. Folke.
Good evening, parents. My name is Mr. Folke, and I'm just happy to be here tonight and just for you to learn more about the Spanish Immersion Program. Wilbur is the best school in the universe. Yeah, you're going to love being a part of this great community, and you have some great teachers in Senor Alonso and Miss Chomp. So look forward to meeting you all, and enjoy tonight.
Thank you very much. All right, Ms. Chomp, sorry I had to interrupt.
Sorry, I was just jumping ahead.
But the parents will know that I will jump in a lot because there's just a lot of information that we want to make sure you have.
Yes.
So, but Ms. Chomp, take it away. What is immersion?
What is it? It is a form of instruction where two languages are used, English and Spanish on our end. And then it is 50% of the day. I'm not sure everybody understands that, but your child will receive 50% of their day with me learning the English side of things, reading, writing, and I do some content transfer. I pre-teach Senora's math so that they hear it in English first before they are taught the words in Spanish as well. And then the rest of the day, they're with Senora and they're learning Spanish language arts.
Spanish language arts. They do science, and they do math with me. So yeah, Ms. Chomp does the English side, which is the English language arts and the social studies and the writing and all that fun stuff. So yeah, it's a busy day, I would say, in immersion on a daily basis. Those kids are hustling.
We are.
We are moving and learning and growing every day.
Yes.
And one thing that you might not realize, when we say they're being taught in Spanish, that means Senora only speaks in Spanish.
Mhm.
Now, occasionally at the beginning of the year, when we first start, the first couple of weeks, certainly, we relax the rules on that a little bit. But the whole point of immersion is that they are immersed in the language. And so when they're on that side of the day, they are spoken to. And I'll tell you, it is amazing what goes on in that classroom, and that your kids will know by the second or third week of school. Like my brain can't even, it doesn't sink in. Like it's just amazing. And so I just want you to know, though, don't be surprised. It is really, they are immersed, which means she is speaking only Spanish in that classroom for most of the time.
And by the end of the year, they've picked up so much. It's just really awesome to see both languages with regard to English and Spanish. So it's a great program.
It is. It's amazing.
So essentially, we have, it's not just learning language in and of itself. We actually use the Common Core State Standards as a means of, how we teach the language, both in English and in Spanish. And so the goal is for your child to achieve these standards at grade level. So, of course, acquiring a second language, there are different levels of proficiency that they'll be going through as they go through the program. But we are teaching the state standards for kindergarten in both languages. So I'm doing, and Ms. Chomp is doing, a lot of scaffolding of the language. We support language by, making it understandable and comprehensible using different types of strategies. But we are responsible for those Common Core State Standards. And our goal really is to develop those high levels of proficiency in both English and Spanish in the areas of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So, for me, most of the students that come in that are English native speakers all start at the novice level. That means if they've been exposed to the language, it's pretty minimal, not very much. So they all start at the novice stage. And so you can think of them as like little parrots, just really, really attending, listening, and just mimicking what I'm saying. And it's really interesting how they pick up the accent and they pick up the content. And also we have Spanish native speakers that, they come in knowing the language, maybe not so much strong in the academic piece, but in English, they'll be doing the same. They'll be really picking up and going through those different levels of proficiency when learning the language. And of course, the cultural piece, you're not just learning language in a vacuum, you also have the cultural piece that we also include in the immersion program.
A typical day in kindergarten, we follow what we call a roller coaster method, especially in the beginning of the year. If they start with me on the English side on Monday, and then they go to Senora in the afternoon, then the next day they start with Senora and they come to me in the afternoon. That way, they're not just getting Spanish every morning and then coming to me, maybe a little tired, picking up the English in the afternoon. So we call that the roller coaster method. I'll tell you, the kids keep us on our on track. It's like, oh, what group did I have yesterday? And they already know where they're going. It sounds a little confusing, but the kids jump right in and they know exactly what to do. We teach science and social studies on Fridays. All right. Oral language development. Senora, this is your favorite thing to talk about.
Yes. This is a huge piece of the Spanish program is developing that oral language. It's so important to develop that communicative proficiency at a very young age. So I do lots with music. So your child will be coming home singing. And I try to use music or songs that have phrases that I'm teaching them, or vocabulary or content, because, music lowers that affective filter. You're not so nervous when you're learning a second language, when you're actually enjoying it and singing it. And of course, then, I take that opportunity to springboard that and then teach them the the language, through different strategies of turn and talks. And, it's really neat to see, the phrases that I teach them and how I include the different, content areas for them to talk about the content that I'm speaking. I use it with sentence ends and vocabulary that I teach them. So, the kids, I really want them to speak. I don't expect them to speak fluently, but whatever I teach them, I expect them to speak. So I'm all day using different strategies to help them use the language in the classroom. And so, like I said, music is a huge piece, and also using stories as well, stories that are repetitive in phrase and ones that they can retell to you. I start off with one story in the beginning of the year, and, it's really neat that in a few weeks they can actually retell the story at home. So your kids will be coming home telling stories. Now, it's just the same way we do it in English. Just like when you read certain stories over and over, the kids are coming back, but we do a lot with comprehension and getting them to learn the vocabulary that we're teaching. So, oral language, you'll see vocabulary all over the word, my words, everything is labeled. So it's just a really cool thing to see how they just pick up the language, because they're so, infused in the language in the classroom.
And one thing that the teachers do, and this is in most immersion programs, their classrooms match. And so things are labeled in English on Ms. Chomp's, Ms. Chomp's side of the day, even down to the classroom rules and the different expectations and the calendar, everything, pretty much matches. And so they're seeing it on Ms. Chomp's side of the day, and then they're seeing it in Spanish in the same spot, in the same way, in the same font, usually even, so that their brain is connecting those things. And so there's a lot of even just those types of strategies that are within the classroom that help build that capacity for language.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, social skills are a big
big
part of kindergarten, and
feelings. We have huge
feelings. We are always talking about feelings, are we not? And and ways to handle different situations, because that's something we learn along the line, especially in kindergarten. So we're working on following routine, sharing, helping others, recognizing other people's feelings. That's a big one, and understanding emotions and how to manage your own emotions. We're into 4-4-8 breathing, belly breathing. We're always figuring out different ways to stop, calm down. How can we solve our problem, and talking it out instead of, getting upset right away. So these are things that we're constantly working on throughout the day, and interacting appropriately with both children and adults. And persevering, that's a big word we use in kindergarten and in school. That's one of Mrs. Howe's favorite words, but we're always talking about persevering. It might not be something that comes easy to us, and we might not know it yet, but we're going to. We got to stick with it. We've got to persevere. Oops, I think I skipped one. We are getting a new reading series. It's CKLF. So there'll be more to come on that next year as we deep dive into it and learn more about it. But they're still going to be focusing on the big 5 areas of literacy: phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, comprehension, and vocabulary.
And I'll be doing that with the Spanish language arts program as well. We will be focusing on those areas.
Yes. We also in kindergarten do more writing than maybe we did when we were in kindergarten. We'd love them to come in identifying their first and last name, concepts of print, how to correctly hold the pencil. Fine motor skills are great ways to teach them. Have some tweezers and pick up cotton balls and things like that. Fine motor skills are huge. Telling and drawing their own stories, sounding out and writing letters and words. We don't spell for them. We always tell them to sound it out, put the letters you hear. And we use writing in a variety of ways. We're always labeling, writing our opinions, making lists, journaling, all that good stuff. So you're going to be impressed with how much your kindergartner can write.
Ms. Chomp does a lot of work with writing. So when they're really able to transfer those writing skills to Spanish. So, she does so much with helping them form sentences. What is a sentence? What does it look like? The spaces to the capital, to the period. And so when I get them to create sentences in Spanish, they already have the understanding of what that is. So she makes my job really, really easy when it comes to that, because they have a real strong foundation in that area. Thanks.
I try.
Appreciate that, Michelle. Make my life easier in kindergarten. I love it. So, math, I really love teaching math and Spanish. It's so much fun because I have all these manipulatives. And so, the more manipulatives, the more visuals I have, and math is full of that. It can make it so much more comprehensible. So we have a lot of fun in math. I mean, they're very, very, very engaged, and they think they're playing games, which is a lot of fun, right? So, play is such a central piece of teaching for me with regard to little ones, because, that's the way you engage them, really. So, with math, counting to 100, so huge. Oh my goodness, we count to 100 every day, English and Spanish. And, Ms. Chomp always says, she always gives the tips for helping count, count in the car, count in the bathtub, right, Ms. Chomp? Your whiteboard in the car, your
I do.
minivan.
I'm one of those parents with a whiteboard
Yeah,
in the
or
car.
yeah. So anyway, knowing your numbers 0 through 20, and, different ways to make 10, and different making number combinations. I mean, our big goal at the end of the year is really addition and subtraction. So that we have so much counting, and so many things lead to that big focus. And it's really awesome to see them now being able to do simple stories for addition, subtraction, and Spanish, because they have so much vocabulary that I really can just tell them the stories in Spanish, and they get it because they have the conceptual understanding of what addition and subtraction is, and measurement and graphs. Oh my gosh, those are so much fun too, because we measure everything. They want to measure everything. So, we have all kinds of things that they use to measure. So coming into a math class is a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite things to teach.
And so the more you can make sure that your kiddo knows their numbers in order in English, the better it's going to be, and the easier it's going to be to transfer that information, that knowledge, to the Spanish side of the day. And so the more you can do over the summer, and I know we'll talk about this, and you'll get a lot of information this summer and from the teachers, during the summer. But we want to make sure that, those skills are pretty solid, so that they are not, for the first time, having to learn those things in Spanish, that instead they have a good solid background. That's what they need, so that they can hit the ground running in Spanish.
Yes. And I will reach out to you, with regard to that. Like if I see, I've talked to Ms. Chomp, she's actually taught some of it, during that content transfer, but if I see they're still not picking up, I will reach out to you, and I will say, please make sure you work on these skills. And we do a newsletter, which I think we'll talk about in a few, but where we say, what are the skills we're working on? So you're always, you're always ahead with regard to what we'll be teaching that week.
Yes.
Science
is fun too.
Yeah, science is
all the
too,
fun over there.
I know, sorry, Ms. Chomp. No, I'm not going to give it up either. No, I would for you. But real fun. I mean, we talk about, trees, and it's a whole year, but, we involve the seasons in there, and, how the tree changes, and, we talk about living things and non-living things, and push-pull is always a lot of fun because, they get to, have a lot of fun with regard to that concept of, how things move, and what does it take to make something moves. And once again, it's all hands-on, which is what makes it really great for when I use Spanish language, because I have all these different activities that are so engaging that they can do. And then we talk about weather all year long, and that's a lot of fun talking about clothes you wear for different seasons, and why do how the sun affects things, how it makes things melt faster. If you put in shade, it doesn't so much, but it just has so many concepts that are really fun to teach throughout the year, that they love science. They love to be scientists. They really enjoy that piece.
I mean, we have fun with social studies too.
I think
we
I
make
know
some
you do.
math.
I hear you over there. I hear you over there, Ms. Chomp. I know
No.
picking it up over there during social studies.
We start with learning the rules and school rules and things like that. We move into maps. We love to make our maps and things like that.
See?
And we right now we're in the long ago versus today, and nothing makes you feel older than when they think that everything is from long ago, and it's like last week.
They are very in the moment.
Yes, they are.
They are very good for us as adults, being in the moment and not having to think about what happened, yesterday or a week from now, what's going to happen. They are so in the moment. So they are good teachers for us.
And we do incorporate a lot of the culture, as we've said before. So the culture is always sprinkled out through the year. We do.
We love a good Day of the Dead.
Yes, that's one of our
We have a
favorites
great
that
time.
we do.
Cinco de
And
Mayo, yeah.
Cinco de Mayo, and we learn
Yeah.
about the culture, things like that. So we love to come together and bring all the kids together. That way there can be some English spoken when we talk about these things.
Mhm.
And we love those days. Specials are on a weekly rotation schedule. So let's say they have art that week, they can really focus on doing a bigger project because they have all week instead of maybe once a week. I really love that because they come back with some really cool things. And like in the STEM program, they're working on bigger projects because they have that time. And it's not just, oh, we did that last Monday and then they forgot. And then by the time they get back, they have to reteach things like that.
Yeah.
Our class expectations, as Ms. House said, are posted in both English and Spanish in the same exact spot with the same pictures so the kids see it in both languages. Very simple. Raise your hand to talk, keep your hands and feet to yourself, complete your work, participate in class, and follow.
I mean, you think it's simple, but for some people, it takes a little time.
I know, but
we're still working on it.
No.
And our overall school expectations, school-wide expectations, all of these fit within because we talk about caring about yourself, caring about others, and caring about our community as a whole. And so all of these rules fit right into our school-wide expectations as well.
Absolutely.
Birthdays. Now, birthdays, we always get this question. So we're just going to let you know right now, due to allergies, and we have some pretty severe allergies, there's no food or treats to be sent to school. And we do a fun birthday song, and we do acknowledge that our babies on their big day, but we can't accept food.
I know.
Now, one thing that I think will be back next year is that in the cafeteria, we have arranged, since we don't have food able to be sent in, and that's a district-wide part of the wellness policy, in addition to allergy issue. Basically, there's an order form that will be online if it's back. It wasn't in place this year, but it should be back next year. And you can actually place an order for, let's say 25, if there's 25 students in that class, Rice Krispie treats, or they have a list of different things, and you can order them and pay for them online. And then the cafeteria actually serves them at their lunchtime with their lunch. So it becomes a treat that they get to eat with their lunch. And so that is something that I'll be putting out more information about next year.
Yes, that comes back. This is our big question we get the most, right? How to support your child in the second language. And these are some of our expectations that we have because we're teaching everything that a regular full day English kindergarten class is getting. And then on top of it, the Spanish language arts, we require some things to be done at home. And Senora.
Yes. So Dreambox and Imagine Learning, we have a really packed day, as Ms. Chomp just stated. So Dreambox and Imagine Learning really support, the math for Dreambox, and for Imagine Learning, it supports the English language arts standards. Both of them are standards based. So they're getting that support that they need with regard to understanding the standards that I'm teaching in the classroom. So we ask parents to make sure that they get those apps done at home. If we do get time to fit them in, we do let the parents know so that way they don't have to do it at home, but not so much because
I was going to say, that's pretty rare, Miss Alana.
I know.
Yes,
it is. Very rare. We try, but it's not likely. So you're right. I'm being very positive right now about that.
We have a line of communication called the class show, and that's the easiest way to get a hold of us if you need us right away, because it can pop up on our phone and it'll just send a little message. Whereas we're teaching from our computers a lot of times, or our email is a little harder to get to. That pops right up on there. And we also use an app that we love called Seesaw, where we send work and it's digital, and they do that on their computer. We send weekly newsletters the Friday before the next week, and that gives you a heads up as to what our special is, what's going on, what's coming up, what our focus is for that week, what our sight word is, what it lists every subject and what we're working on. And that's so that you guys know what's going on. As a mom, I like to be in the know, and I want to know, what I can work on at home with them. What can I get them ready for this week, especially if we have a busy week. So I like to see ahead of time what's going on, and we like to keep you up to date with those things. Your child will most likely know what the teacher wants them to do. Anytime you have a question, just text us or message us, and we get right back to you.
And some parents are worried, do I have to know Spanish to be able to help my child in this program? No. And Miss Alonso has some great resources, that she pushes out. But I know you're going to talk about that next.
Yeah, so just like Ms. Chomp was stating and Ms. Howell said earlier, that, the stronger your literacy skills are in your first language, that's what are really going to facilitate the acquisition of the second language, right? So if you already have an understanding of what a number is, right, and you can count from 1 to 10, or that when you count, doing that one-to-one correspondence, like if you say, okay, give me 5 beans, they can count out 5 beans, right? When I go to teach them, give me 5 in Spanish of whatever counter I'm using for them to count, they'll know that concept, right? It's just like when I do addition and subtraction, they understand the concept of addition and subtraction. Then when I go to say my story, they get it because they're listening for those key words that I use, just like in English, more, less, I'll be using those in Spanish. So, the stronger you are with that conceptual knowledge and understanding of concepts, the stronger they're going to be. So definitely be looking out for that newsletter, making sure that, especially for math, because math is in Spanish, that those concepts that I'll be teaching, that you reinforce them. Okay. And I think also what's really important to know is that, understanding a language takes time, takes years, right? So remember, your child will be like on a continuum. So they're going to come in, if they've never heard Spanish before, or maybe they've heard a little bit in preschool, they're all going to start at a novice level. Novice is, you're starting at, I haven't really heard it that much. I have very little understanding of it, at little to zero, and that's okay, because my expectation is, even in that novice range, you've got novice, intermediate, then you get advanced, but even in the novice, you have different stages, beginning, middle, right, and you get to the higher end. Your child is going to be novice low, and that's okay. So they're going to be parroting, they're really going to be listening. So if they get home, they'll be like, okay, what say something in Spanish. That's going to be very, like, their affective filter is going to go high. They're going to be like, I don't know, I didn't learn anything, because they're going to get nervous. I really contextualize the language, and I do a lot of things to help them be able to support them with regard to their output of the language. So, know that, they're not going to be talking sentences, right? They're, at first it's like a baby, right? What does a baby do? They just listen to you. And then maybe months, they start saying a word, and then they start saying a phrase, and then that moves into a sentence. And I want you to think of that the same way that you acquire a language. Okay. So, and I'll be talking about, like, at the end of the year, where does your child fall with regard to that continuum? I won't go into the specifics now. And also, it can be challenging, but one of the things we really talk about our traits is persevere. And in Spanish, we say échale ganas, right? Persevera. We want you to know that sometimes things are a struggle, and that's okay, right? But you keep trying until you get it, because you may not have it yet, but you will. And so we really encourage that, even for understanding Spanish. So they may come home and be like, Mom, I didn't understand anything. This is so, hopefully they won't be doing that, because I'll be doing some fun things with them, but it might be a little challenge, but, just reassure them that with time, they're going to learn, and they're going to feel more comfortable as each day goes by. So we want them to really understand that, might be a little challenging at first, but they'll be picking it up as we go.
And one thing I want to mention at this point, and I know we might be hammering this home, but I really want you to know this. This is a tight schedule. There is a lot packed in. So one of the things that there is not time for in this Spanish immersion kindergarten, or even in actually any grade of our immersion program, is intervention. So in our regular English classrooms, we have reading intervention and math intervention time that's built into the schedule. Unfortunately, Spanish language arts takes that extra time. And so we really just want to hammer in, the more your student comes, the more they know in English about both math and reading and ELA. We're not saying they have to be perfect or anything like that, but the more that they know, the better they will be, because there is not time in the schedule like there is in the regular ELA program or English program at Wilbur. We have 30 minutes a day built in for math and 30 minutes a day built in for reading to both challenge and also to remediate. That time is not built into the immersion schedule. And I want you to know that up front, because the more we can prepare them and the more you can work with them, the better prepared they come in, the more they're going to succeed in this program.
It transfers. Right. Kindergarten readiness skills. Here's
that leads perfectly into this conversation.
Yes, perfect. Right. I'm not going to read them all through, but you want to take a look at these skills of some things that definitely set them up for success. You know, we talked about a little bit about the oral language, speaking in sentences. 2-step directions is big, big, big. Just reading with your children is huge. The more you read to them, the more language they receive, and then, you know, the more verbal they are.
So as we go through the presentation, take a look at these skills, and I know that this is being recorded, so you will have access to these kinder readiness skills. But let me tell you, you just put in kinder readiness and it will pop up if you just put it in the internet, and you can, you know, print out the list as well, so that you can practice.
One parent asked if we would send out the PowerPoint, and in just a few minutes, I figure maybe Ms. Chomp can stick it in the chat, and that way the parents will have that. And also the recording will be on our website as well, because obviously not everybody can attend tonight. So we make sure that everybody has access as well.
I really have a lot of faith in my computer skills that I can pop it in the chat. I might need a little tutorial.
All right, or send it to me, Ms. Chomp. Send it to my email and I can send it out. I'll put it in the chat for us.
I sent it to you this morning, but I'll send it to you again. All right, here's some more math ones. Like we said, counting and just some number sense is huge.
Yeah, and just like I said, just picking certain things for them to count. I mean, the kitchen is a great place. You know, you've got all your fruits and vegetables, and you've got, you know, your different containers of, you know, whatever you have, you know, that they can just count out. You know, show me 5, show me 6. Or maybe you'll put 6 things out for them and they have to count. And then you can see if they're actually going, you know, sometimes they go too fast, or they're counting slowly and their fingers not moving fast enough to point. So those are the little things that you can support them with, right? So definitely, you know, having them being able to count, not skipping numbers. Shapes. Oh, shapes are great. You know, you can do a lot with shapes. You know, give them some spaghetti or something and have them make shapes. Those are a lot of fun. Or put some of that shaving cream on, I mean, now I'm getting a little crazy, but on the table, and maybe making some shapes. I know some moms out there are like, are you kidding me?
No.
You have children.
Have them work for you. Count out how many forks you need for the kitchen table, how many knives, set the table, make them work.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're learning as they're working, and then makes your life a little easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
That. You know, some gross motor skills. Are they running? Can they hop on one foot? Can they skip? Can they bounce and catch a ball?
Can they tie their shoe?
That's always our favorite. Can you tie your shoe?
Oh, we are. Is that story you talked about, Ms. Chomp, still the Nordstrom? Which was the one that
Nordstrom has a shoe tying class.
Oh, we love that.
Where you can go on a Saturday morning once a month, and they will teach your children how to tie their shoe.
Yeah, that's my favorite. It's not Velcro. That works.
We love that. Using the bathroom independently, being able to button, snap, all those good things. If they have a belt, can they work that belt? Yeah. Cleaning up after themselves. This is huge. My kids still need help with that. If you make a mess, you're going to clean that up. Seems like a simple concept.
Yeah.
Oh, straws and all those lunch things. Can they open their bag of chips and things like that? There are lunch helpers, but we are not in the room for lunch. And there are adults there, but that will cut down on their eating time if they cannot open their own things. So that's always helpful too. Being able to separate without getting overly upset, that's huge, especially because, with the pandemic, you've been home with your kids more, and that, so separation might be hard. Maybe start that process, interacting with other children. Here's my favorite. Can pay attention for at least 5 minutes on a task. An adult is leading. I like that. Then they can.
Yeah.
Yes.
1.
5 minutes is longer than you think.
That's right. We build up to those 5. We're building up to those 5.
We do.
There is no nap time in kindergarten.
No.
So I want to make sure that, it's not back in the day when I was in kindergarten. I still remember my little orange mat that I used to like lay on and have that little nap. No, there's none of that.
Those were the days.
Especially in Spanish immersion, but actually in many classrooms. And so make sure that you start weaning them off that nap time if they're still doing it by July, so that when they come to us, they're not going to be grumpy because they're not getting enough sleep, because you've weaned them off that time.
Okay. Kindergarten does a staggered start, and it gets a little confusing. So we're going to just talk you through this today, and we'll talk you through it again in August, and then you'll get a letter about it. Yes. So the first week of school for kindergarten is split into 2 groups. You have A through L attending for the first 2 days. That would be August 29th and 30th. Then you have M last names, M through Z. That'll come Wednesday, Thursday. So the Monday, Tuesday kids don't come Wednesday, Thursday. It's smaller groups, so we can really hone in on what school is like, get them into a routine. And then Friday, there's no school, September 2nd. And then everybody comes back September 6th, and we start our real routine of every day, Monday through Friday. That can be confusing. So kind of.
So glad you explained that, Ms. Chong.
And I put the right letters this year. I think I had A through F last year.
Prior to actually that first day on August 29th, we have what's called a kinderduction. I don't know if, do you have a slide about this or no, Ms. Champalonzo?
It can't be the 29th. It's the week before. It's when teachers come.
No, I'm sorry. It's the 22nd.
Yes.
So prior to the start of school, which is the 29th, it is the Monday before that, the 22nd, from 9 to 11:30. Don't worry about writing that down. You will get all this information. You will be inundated. I like to do my emails and my weekly newsletters for parents, so you'll get a lot of information. And so what we do is basically a half day in the morning from 9 to 11:30. The students are with their kindergarten teachers that they're actually going to be with, when we start the school year. This is both Spanish immersion and my regular kindergarten program. And what we do is it is kind of that first chance for them to be dropped off, for you to go have a nice breakfast or something somewhere for a couple hours, and then come back. And we actually then have from 10:30 to 11:30 a Q&A with me and you parents, so that we can get any burning questions the week before school starts kind of out of your mind. And also the cool thing is we then reunite you with your child, and you actually, the teacher, so either Miss Alonso or Miss Chomp, whoever's homeroom they end up in, will take you on a tour of our building. And we would have not been able to do this for a couple of years, so we're excited to be able to do it this year, and actually have that tour. So your eyes are actually on the room and the nurse's office and the cafeteria and the different big spots that are in our building, so you can have a visual of where your child is.
Let's see.
One other question in the chat is, what's the class size? Typically, immersion classes start larger than the rest of the classes. That's the design by the state. Typically, they're at 25 in each classroom. Because of spacing and things like that, the last couple of years, I have capped it at about 22. To provide a little bit more spacing, in between the students. And so we don't know where we're going to end up next year exactly, but it will be somewhere in that range between 22 and 24, most likely, in each classroom.
You really are like a little family, I always say, because you're with these guys for the next 6 years. The kids know each other, even if they are in the other homeroom. We get together, as I said, for a lot of things, and we love to come together and learn as a whole group. It's a really awesome experience. And you will see, like, our first group is in 5th grade now, and they are just such a tight-knit group of children, and we've loved watching them grow.
And
Absolutely.
it's not surprising. Sometimes they act like brothers and sisters, and
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
like, you know, especially as they get older, you know, they've been with each other like
Mhm.
brothers and sisters, you know, since kindergarten. And so we do form classes and we switch things around. So don't be surprised if one day, you know, Miss Chomp is in, technically her homeroom is in G1, which is green 1. Miss Alonso's in G3. And there are many times when we switch those homerooms up, even couple weeks into the school year, if we just think, you know, we need a little different mixing of the students or whatever. And so don't be surprised if one day your child's in G1 homeroom, the next day they're in G3 for, you know, because we switch things up. They're with the same, you know, 50 kids basically as they go up all the way to 5th grade. And they are always having the same 2 teachers because, you know, so it doesn't really matter what homeroom it is, but just so you know, that does happen, that we switch them up for many different reasons.
Yes. Did we have any other questions?
Class start time. So we will go over a lot. You're going to get a ton of information, including our Wilbur handbook for families that has a ton of information. But our start time, so the doors actually open at 8:45 in the morning and classes start at 9. And so if your student is going to be dropped off in the morning, we have a window between 8:45 and 9 o'clock for them to be dropped off. The day goes basically until 3:30. We do start dismissal at about 3:25 or so for our car riders, and we'll talk, you know, a little bit. You'll hear lots about that. We have diagrams and pictures of exactly how our dismissal and our arrival go, so that you will have all that information. Now, transportation is provided for students who live in Wilbur's feeder pattern. If your child does not, which many Spanish immersion parents are choosing their child to Wilbur. And if that's the case, transportation may be provided, but it's not guaranteed. And so what happens is we have to run the buses the first week or 2 of school, see how many students are actually on each bus, you know, that actually end up riding the buses. And there are a certain number of students who can fit on each bus. What happens from there is if you are interested in having your child ride a bus, there's a form that you'll fill out. We actually provide it to transportation. And then as soon as a seat does open up, or we know that is a possibility for you, we let you know, and we can start that bus from the closest bus stop to basically to where you live. It will be a closest bus stop of Wilbur's. And so it's not close to your house if you live in Wilmington or if you live in Newark. It is our closest bus stop to where you live. And that, I don't get into the bus stop thing a lot. That's a transportation thing. They route the stops and they figure out like what that stop would be. If your child goes to a daycare that is in Wilbur's feeder pattern, and we do have a list of these, I believe, on our website. If not, you can always email me. My email is on the school website. You can always go check out our website. It's got previous newsletters from me and all kinds of information, but you can always email and we can send you that. So we do have some daycares that actually are in our feeder pattern. And so if your child is signed up for one of those daycares, they do get bus transportation to that location because it's in our feeder pattern. Okay, I saw another question. So there are restrooms in the back of each of our kindergarten classrooms. So they're within the classroom. Someone does not escort them. They do have to go by themselves. Now it is, again, it's in the same room. So they don't, for kindergarten, they don't travel down the hallway like our rest of our kids do. But they do have to be able to, again, zip up, unzip, unbutton, unsnap, unbuckle if it's a belt. They do have to do that all by themselves. We are expecting that. And so that's something that you saw on that list of readiness skills. And if we can't get the, Ms. Chop, if we can't get that presentation in the chat before we leave today, I will send out to the same email that I sent out the invitation to tonight. I can send out that presentation to you as well. So it's no problem at all. So the question about mileage radius, yes, we do provide a bus to the neighborhood right across the street. That is something that 10 years ago we did not do, but we were able to get the legislator to work something out. And so basically all Wilbur students do ride, or who live in my feeder pattern, are able to ride a bus, even if they live in the development across the street or beside the development that's beside us. Right now, Ms. Morgan, I will tell you that we don't have any visitors in the building right now. I will let you know that I don't know what's, when we think about the things of this week, the events of this week that have happened, I know that we have always been a very secure school. We do have, the doors are locked all the time. And as it stands right now, we started this during COVID, and it might continue for security reasons. I don't know, but I will say that we have not been letting visitors in the building, period. And so, that has been for health and safety reasons, but I'll be putting out more information once we kind of, determine what's going to be. In the past, let's say 3 or 4 years ago, we did have an opportunity for parents, if they wanted to come and maybe have lunch with their child or something like that. What you do have to remember is we do have 1,200 students. We are the largest elementary school in the state of Delaware, maybe in the whole country, I don't know, but we're definitely the largest in the state of Delaware. And so when you think about that many students, you need to also think about that many parents. And so we do have to limit the amount of visits, because you can imagine possibly 24, or sometimes, students may have multiple families. And so you can just imagine the sheer numbers that we have to deal with at Wilbur. So when we make decisions, I will let you know that we have to take that into consideration, just the sheer numbers that we have. So thank you, Ms. Castro. I really appreciate your kudos. Woo, we've been working hard on arrival and dismissal, and the car line is now a smooth thing of beauty. Some of the parents might not think so, but it is efficient. I will say that I'm coming up with a plan for the first kindergarten day, because that's going to be a little different. Our car line for kindergarten will probably be even at a different time for those parents that are dropping off, because we have a whole system down. But I will let you know that the car line your student does have to know quickly how to get out of the car. They actually get out of the car on their own. And you'll see all kinds of information talking all about, and I even do drawings, I do details, I do little arrows, I do little signs. You'll be able to see you'll know what to do for car line drop off. And sometimes I do videos of it, because I do want you to know it's a process, and we have honed it now to a very quick process so that we can get 300 cars students into the building in less than 15 minutes. And so that is what we need to do in order to get the kids learning at 9 o'clock. And so there's no lingering goodbyes or anything like that in the car line. And I let parents who are maybe struggling with that park in the lot, and then I actually walk the kiddos across if your kiddos having a little trouble with getting out of the car quickly. So, but we'll talk more about that. You'll see much more about that in the coming weeks or months. Let me say months. I think that we have hit. And you're going to see that tons of information is going to come to you soon in the form of our Wilbur handbook. And it will be an electronic copy that you'll be able to click on, and you'll really be able to, most of the processes, I think, are going to be really clear to you based on the way that we have them kind of spelled out step by step, hopefully. You can always reach out through email as well. Ms. Chomper, Ms. Alonso, or my assistant principals, anything else you would like to add?
We are excited to receive your little ones in August. We're excited for a break, but we're also excited soon after to get to know them and teach them all year. We enjoy what we do together. So it's going to be an awesome, awesome year. So thank you so much for signing up for Spanish Immersion.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. Or if you're watching this later, we appreciate you taking the time to watch it. And thank you so much. We can't wait for your child to be a Wilbur Wildcat. And we do like to have fun. So get ready for that. Again, be looking out for emails. That is my primary way of communicating. You get a ton of information that way. And also remind text. You will get an invitation in one of the first Wilbur